So I closed millions of dollars working for an 8-figure online entrepreneur, and I was consistently the top performing sales rep on his sales team, making 2 to 3 times as much as other guys on the team was making, consistently bringing home 6 figures per year in commissions working for him. And in this video, I'm gonna break down the top 3 things that I did differently from everyone else in that sales team that allow me to make twice as much or even 3 times as much commissions as the other guys and close at between 40 to 50% of the people I was speaking with. So if you're someone who's looking to get into remote high ticket sales, or if you're in high ticket sales right now, you're working as a closer, this can be extremely valuable to find out exactly how you can set yourself apart from everyone else. And I have my notepad right here of these 3 things. I'm gonna read them out to you and tell you exactly what I did differently. So let's get into it straight away. The first and the main thing that I did different from everyone else on that sales team, what everyone else usually struggled with was basically objection handling, you know? They would run through a sales call and they would have usually like a pretty good call, you know? They would get deep in the beginning, they would figure out what the prospect's pain was, what their goals were, do like an okay pitch and things like that. But then at the end, when it was time to close the person, what happened over and over again, I saw so many guys in that business struggle with this, and I didn't struggle with this whatsoever, was basically like when they dropped the price, they lost the sale completely. The person came with an objection, they didn't know how to handle objection because they lacked one simple thing that I had in place on my calls, which was basically just leadership. And here's what I mean with this. In my opinion, and on my sales calls, I think this helped me the most throughout my sales career of closing millions of dollars in high ticket sales, has been me being a strong leader on my sales calls. What that means is when you open a sales call, you need to establish yourself as an authority. The person on the call needs to see you as someone that has their best interest in mind, as someone that wants the best for them. And that usually comes from you establishing yourself as an authority, showing that you've been where the prospect is right now, and you've also gotten to where they want to be, either yourself or you have multiple clients that you've seen over again do that. Because otherwise what's going to happen, if the prospect doesn't see you as a leader, someone they can trust, you will run through the call, you will drop the price, they will come with an objection, you will read out like whatever objection handler that you learned from your sales course or your sales mentor. Now I'll get into that in a second because I don't think that's the best way to do sales at all, but we'll get to that in a second. You will basically just do whatever your objection handler is, and the person will, you'll feel like you're a salesperson, you'll start feeling pressure on the sales call, they don't feel like you have their best interest at heart, and then they will drop off the call, it will get combative, and you will end up losing the deal. Or they will just like end the call with them basically like running all over you, like, hey, I want to book a follow-up call, you're gonna like agree to the follow-up call, hoping that they show up, and they will just ghost you. That's what I've seen happen over and over again on that sales team that I was on. And the reason why this happens is because like the person doesn't feel like you have their best interests when you're handling objections. When they say that I want to think about it, or that they want to speak with their spouse or whatever it is, and you handle that with whatever one-liner that you learned, they just feel like you're another salesperson trying to get them to close the deal, and they don't trust you. And when you lose trust on a sales call, you've lost the deal. So the way that you handle this, because pretty much all objections comes down to fear, you know, it's a fear of investing money and making change, because people are generally scared of making change. That's why most people are stuck and not living their ideal life, you know? So what that means is that for you to actually be able to overcome that fear and close deals at the end of the sales call, they need to trust you. And the way to trust you is by you positioning yourself as someone who's been where they want to be and someone who is where they want to be as well right now. And because of that, they will trust that your way of thinking is the right way. You know, if you have a call where they understand that shit like Alex or whatever your name is, you know, you are the person who's been exactly where I want to be, or you've worked and seen hundreds of people that were exactly where I am right now. Let's say you're overweight, let's say you're broke and trying to make money online, let's say your business is struggling, whatever it is, you know, that the prospect is experiencing right now. You or your clients have been there. And you also got people to exactly where I want to be. If people experience that and they feel that you know that and that you understand where they are and where they want to be, and you've truly experienced that yourself and seen other people do it, they will trust you when you handle objections. Because at that point, when you drop your objection handler, wherever it is, you know, even if you do like a one-line like objection handle, they will feel like, shit, this guy, I should listen to him, you know, because he has been where I was or where I am right now, and he's also experienced what I'm looking to experience. My desired reality, he's already felt that. that's what the prospect is gonna like think to themselves, and it's gonna be way more likely for them to listen to you. But if you don't have this in place in your sales calls, they're not gonna listen to you. Like, you're just gonna get to the end of the call, they're gonna feel like you become a salesperson, they're not gonna buy. So the way that you get this, the way that you get this type of leadership is by sharing personal or client stories early in the call. When you're done with your discovery and you're done like asking questions, figuring out the pain, the goals of people, you need to share stories from yourself or from clients that you work with that showcases that you've actually been where they are, that showcase that you have actually achieved what they want to achieve. Again, either for yourself or drop client stories. So that's why you need to know about the clients that you work with and the client results, you know, obviously. So drop that, and that's gonna position yourself as like, shit, this guy actually like knows what he's talking about. And his way of thinking is the way of thinking that I need to have. This is what the prospect is gonna be thinking for themselves to get to where I wanna go. And then when you pitch, when you get to the end of the call, everything's just gonna flow so much smoother. You're gonna trust you. So when you tell them that like, yeah, I think you should do this, or you give them some advice, or you tell them like, you handle objections, how you do it, it's gonna land with them because they truly realize, okay, this way of thinking is what I need to apply to get to where I wanna go. So that's the first thing you need to have in place. That's gonna really set yourself apart. If you have that, if you build that type of leadership on your calls, it becomes so easy to close people, you know? Most objections become irrelevant because you can basically just like tell people what you think they should do, you know? I've had sales calls where I literally just tell someone like, hey man, just stop making excuses, you just need to step up and do it. And because I've built this leadership earlier in the call by telling personal stories and things like that, they buy. If I wouldn't have done that, the person would just get pissed, they feel like I'm a salesperson, and they drop off the call. So like, you need to have this in place, you need to do this earlier in your call, and when you do this, when you build that leadership, sales becomes easier, to be honest. So that's the first thing. Second thing, and the way you do it is by establishing trust and like building that authority early in the call and sharing stories. Second thing is seek to understand. Go from a place of, okay, I'm gonna handle these objections that people give me, from a place of just like kind of putting like I don't know if you've seen the ad of like there's like some tape that this crazy guy that just like slaps tape and that stops like water flowing out of a bucket. Instead of just like thinking of like, I'm gonna take my like objection handle that I learned from whatever sales course, whatever shitty like sales reels you've seen online, and just like slap it on whatever objection they give you. When someone's like, yeah, I want to think about it, and you're like, yeah, you shouldn't think about it because you've already been thinking about this for 2 months, and every day that you wait, you're getting yourself further away from your goal. Instead of doing that, which is retarded, the way to handle it is you need to seek to understand the person and why they're telling you what they're telling you, because everyone always does what's in their best interest, okay? Everyone, this might sound crazy, but it's pretty logical, and everyone takes actions that they think is in their best interest, which means that if someone says they want to think about it, there's some belief that they hold that makes them feel like thinking about it and waiting 24 hours is the best thing for them to do. So instead of just like going at it and just like attacking the objections that they give you, you need to come in with an intention to figure out, okay, why does this person genuinely feel like waiting 24 hours is the best thing for them to do? If you come at objections from that perspective, same thing, I want to talk with my spouse, I want to do more research, wherever it is, you know. If you genuinely come in with the intention, like, I'm going to try to figure out why this person wants to do X, Y, and Z, what belief does this person hold, what experiences could they have had in their own life that got them to a point where they feel like this is the best thing for them to do, and you uncover that. Like, this is some real sauce I'm giving you right now. Like, it took me a lot of time to learn this, because when I realized this, for example, I had a sales call with an old guy that wanted to, like, the program was perfect. It was an 8K program that I was selling, helping him start his own like online business. He wanted to do it, but he wanted to wait 24 hours. And I could have handled that just like straight on, like, hey man, you should do it right now. There's no reason to wait, blah, blah, blah. He probably would have hung up the call and gotten pissed. The way that I handled it, I came at it with curiosity and like try to figure out, like, why does this guy want to wait? Like, everything, but why does this guy want to wait? Everything makes sense. He should just like buy, you know? I went into it with the curiosity and like, okay, so what makes you feel like waiting until tomorrow is the right thing to do? He told me that he's bought like a coaching program a couple of months before, got scammed. And the reason why he felt like he got scammed was because he made a quick decision. He attached the fact that he made a quick decision on that call back then to him getting scammed, which is obviously it's not correct. Right? The reason why he got scammed was because he didn't have all the information. He didn't do his due diligence and actually do research. That's why he got scammed, and that's why he lost money. So at that point, I just had to help him understand that by asking some simple questions, reframing him. I could just help him understand that, okay, the reason why you failed in the past was not because you made a quick decision, it's because you made a bad decision. You didn't have information, you know? So that means that in the future and like now on this call, if you just stop making or if you stop making fast decisions, that's going to prevent you from seeing success. So it's about getting the information. Then we just talked about the information, made sure that he felt comfortable and everything, answered all the questions that he would have wanted to ask those other guys before, closed the deal, paid in full. And that would only have happened because, or that only happened because I wanted to understand them. I really came in with the intention to figure out, why does this guy want to wait? Why does he think that waiting until tomorrow is a better thing for him to do? I understood his true belief that he held, and I handled it. Objection handling becomes so much easier when you look at objections as discoveries, like mini discoveries. He says something, the prospect says something, I'm going to try to understand why he's saying that, instead of just trying to handle it and trying to like punch down the objection, if that makes sense. That's the second thing that I did on the sales team to close way more than everyone else. And then the last thing is basically selling people on the way of thinking and the vehicle before you sell them on the coaching program. So what I mean by this is if you're selling like a, let's say you're selling a coaching program teaching people how to make money online with dropshipping. Let's say you're selling like a diet coaching program or like a fitness coaching program. Whatever you're selling, if people are going to buy what you have, they need to first off be bought into the way of thinking required to see success with what you have. They need to believe that this path that you offer, for example, in business, they believe that making 10K a month, which is their goal with online business, the best and the fastest way to do that is with dropshipping in that case. Or the best way to lose weight and get a six-pack is with the keto diet, if that's what you're selling. For your prospects to buy, they need to believe that. They need to hold that belief. And that's why you on your sales calls, and what I've been doing on my sales calls that works extremely well, is sell people on your way of thinking, on the vehicle, before you sell them on the program. Because if you're on a sales call with someone, they're bought in, like they truly believe that dropshipping is the best thing that anyone can do to make 10K a month, and it's exactly what they need to do. Selling them on your coaching program becomes easy, it becomes simple, it's like naturally happens. It's like needs to sound logical and they will buy. Same thing with the diet. If they truly believe that your diet is the best thing for them to do, they will buy. So that's why I spend a lot of time on my sales calls. First off, building myself as an authority, creating trust, sharing personal stories, but then also selling them on the vehicle. Really getting them to understand, like, okay, I'm here, this is where I want to be, and the best vehicle for me to go from being broke to making 10K a month is going to be this. And selling them on that, really like building that belief into them, because then the pitch lands so much better and everyone buys as well. And there's one more hack I want to share with you, because you've been staying for a while now in this video. One like crazy effective hack that I use on my sales calls that allow me to literally close people and like overcome even those most like the most difficult and annoying objections, you know. For example, I have something that I struggle with a lot, where I would be talking to like young guys on sales calls that wanted to start their online business, wanted to be entrepreneur, wanted to change their life. They had all these goals, but there was a lot of fear involved. Usually for young guys, they have big goals, but they're not willing to actually take action on them. Every single time we got to the end of the call, I dropped the price. They were always like too scared, like shit, I need to invest 10K into myself. This is scary. When I think about it, I want to back out. You know, that's something that I struggle with over and over again in the past. So what I started doing, I basically started doing this, what I call like a pre-pitch, which is basically like before you pitch your actual program, you sell them on some personal stories, you sell them on the vehicle that you're offering, and like your path to success. And then you also sell them of the way of thinking required to see success. For example, if I'm talking to a young guy, I would refer them back to the fact, like, okay, you told me before that you want to be a millionaire, you want to make 50K a month and X, Y, and Z, you know? And then you tell them about the fact that the reason why most people never get there is because most young guys, they don't have the right way of thinking. When they face a challenge, when they have to invest in their own skill set, they get scared, they get uncomfortable, and not willing to do the actions required to get to where they want to go. You share stories and these different like anecdotes to basically just help them understand, to help them hold the belief and change their way of thinking from a place of like, okay, when I feel scared, that's bad. That's how most people think, you know. Most people in general, most young guys, they're like, okay, I feel scared, I feel uncomfortable, uncertain, I should back off. And I basically just shift that belief through stories, through personal stories in the beginning of my calls, to when I feel scared, when I feel uncomfortable, that is part of the process. That's good. That's how I'm going to get to my goal. Because if I make that shift in their own head, when I get to the end of the call, they're going to buy. Because they know that these emotions aren't like they're supposed to be there. So if you can make those shifts, that's how you get these like objectionless closes where people just buy at the end of the call because they already have the beliefs required, or they already have the beliefs in place required to buy. If you don't do that, you get to the end of the call, you drop the price, people get scared and they back off. If you get them to understand early in the call that, okay, this is gonna be scary, it's gonna be uncomfortable, and you share like a personal story. For example, something that I used to say, I would tell people about the time that I bought my first coaching program, you know? How I was sitting there as like a 19 or actually a 17-year-old kid with barely any money to my name, investing everything that I had into my coaching program, being super scared. I would literally walk people through like step by step exactly how I felt when doing that. And that just creates so much trust, number one, authority, number two, because they see, like, they literally understand, like, this guy's been exactly where I am right now. So you have so much leverage to handle objections and push people, but also it pre-frames them. They realize, okay, this is how I'm gonna feel as well. When it's time for me to take action and do the same things that Alex has done, or whatever client that you work with, I'm gonna feel these emotions and I'm not gonna let them hold me back. And getting that commitment and changing that belief in their head is gonna be so powerful. When you're at the end of the call, you're gonna close pretty much everyone if you do that correctly earlier in the call. So just want to give you some extra sauce there. Hopefully you guys found this valuable. If you want help from me one-on-one to get into high ticket sales, or if you're in high ticket sales, scale your commissions to over 10K a month, and you want to learn from me one-on-one, I've helped hundreds of guys do it. So if you want help from me and learn one-on-one, click the link down below this video and apply for one-on-one coaching from me. If you have any questions, you can always DM me on Instagram. I reply to all DMs over there. And also let me know if you like these more like advanced, high level, like specific sales tactic type of videos, or if you prefer the more like broad, general ones that I made before. Let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next video very soon. Take care. Ciao.